What's up, my fellow Michiganders, Michiganians, or whatever you happen to call yourselves? Before we get this video started, let me just announce a couple things. Number one, Wolverine State Sports Talk is now an official website. We post blogs, articles, team news, and we're going to post a podcast there on Friday, so check that out. Here's the link to that website. We also have social media accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, so there's the link to those, and we'll leave those in the bio as well. And then second thing, if you like this channel, please subscribe and leave a like button under this video so that we can get our content out to more people and more people that want to learn more about Michigan sports. So with that out of the way, here we go. So I already wrote an article about many of the positives of this game because there were tons of positives. I mean, that was the best I've seen this defense play all year, and it wasn't even close to the first two games. Even though there were the blown coverages, I thought Aaron Glenn put together a great game plan, and you consider the fact that they had two rookies, a second-year guy starting out in the secondary with A.J. Parker, Bobby Price, and Jacobs was on special teams, but still, a lot of young guys out there that hadn't played together ever. So mistakes were going to be inevitable, but Aaron Glenn did a great job keeping the Ravens at bay, and really the Ravens never were able to run the football, and other than those breakdowns, they didn't move the ball down the field at all, outside of a couple passes to Andrews. So good job by Glenn, and there's a lot of good to take out of this. But this is the big thing that bothered me about the second half. Most specifically, the play right before the Ravens got the ball last. So it's 3rd down and 7. Lions are at the Ravens 12. There's a minute 40 left. Ravens have no timeouts. You get a first down, you're only down by 1. You can kick the field goal and run out the clock. The game is over. Instead, Anthony Lynn decides to run the ball up the right side to run down the clock and then have the kicker kick a field goal with about a minute left. So the Ravens get the ball with a minute left, no timeouts. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was a terrible decision because it does make sense. It's not the one I would have picked, but this is what that tells me. If that were Matthew Stafford, that would be a pass 100% of the time. With Jared Goff, it's not. This tells me that the coaching staff is not confident in Jared Goff. And let's take a look at last week. I can understand why completely. Looking at last week, it was 4th down and 1. And the Lions were down by 4 against the Packers, about to score. And, they were running the football well all night. They could have easily ran it for the first down, but I guarantee you what Jared Goff did. He told Anthony Lynn, hey, Quintez Cephas is a good matchup on the outside. Let's get a curl pattern with him. I'm going to get an easy completion to him in a first down. And here's the thing. Everyone is blaming Anthony Lynn for everything. The thing is, that was actually a good play call because two guys were wide open. St. Brown was wide open. Hawkinson was open over the middle. It's just that Jared Goff was locked into the one guy that was not open, and that was Quintez Cephas. So I think after that play, the coaching staff lost a lot of trust in Jared Goff to make some of those big plays. And it showed in this game. I mean, the fact is you got to throw the football there and try to get a first down, but they didn't trust Jared Goff to make the right read. And, for a veteran quarterback, you cannot be locking in on one receiver like he does. He has a huge problem with that. Goff has good arm talent, but that's a rookie quarterback mistake that somehow he hasn't really let go of. And, maybe it was because the Rams' offense was so good he didn't have to go through a lot of progressions. But now in this offense, now that you don't have a superstar receiver, you got to go through your progressions, look around the field, and so far he's been unable to do that. And that's why, looking at this game, it sucks that we lost, but in a way, it is a good thing because this team is not going to make the playoffs, and even if we do, it'll be because the division sucks, not because we're any good. So, that being said, it's best to get the best draft position possible. And I'm not saying obviously you try to lose, but it's not necessarily all bad that you lose, especially when you lose in a way that, is kind of fluky like that. Like where you played well, but you still lost because the other team made a great play. That's what happened. A 66-yard field goal, that just doesn't. Only against the Lions that happens. But going off of that, the draft position is going to be super important. And you want to know who I think is the best quarterback in this draft? You might be surprised. I think it's the guy out of Liberty University, Malik Willis. Malik Willis has great speed. He's got a very strong arm. But here's what separates him from the other quarterbacks in the class, such as Rattler, Ritter, and Sam Howell. Watch his eyes when he throws the football. When Malik Willis gets that football, he goes through all of his progressions really well. Doesn't necessarily have the most talented receiving core at Liberty, but he can make at least very simple reads, and he has the habit of going through his progressions. And maybe that's a credit to Hugh Freeze and his coaching staff for developing that within him, but I think he's a guy that would be awesome in the NFL and would be an absolute headache for defenses to deal with. You look at he has the running ability that Goff does not have. He can go through his progressions unlike Goff. He doesn't lock onto one receiver. He's got a big, strong arm, which Goff actually struggled with in the past. I think this guy's going to be an absolute star in the NFL. And to me, either him or Riddler, to me, are the two quarterbacks I'm taking. I think Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler, as great as we thought they were, they need another year. Rattler just isn't ready for the NFL yet. He's only a sophomore. I think when it comes in years' time, he's got enough talent to be an elite college quarterback and then good in the NFL, but it's going to take some time. So, with that being said, I think if you're the Detroit Lions, you got to be looking at Malik Willis at the end of the season. Maybe you play Jared Goff in the first half of next season, so that Malik Willis can learn from an experienced quarterback, and then you get him some time ready to play. So that's what I think the Lions should do with their first draft pick. They should get Malik Willis, and I think he's the best pick in this draft. That's my opinion, because it's clear to me that Jared Goff is one of the biggest issues on this team because the coaching staff does not trust him to make simple reads. And, I mean, it makes sense. The guy has missed reads all season. He locked in on receivers all season, and that's a big reason why we're 0-3. It's not even just about not having great receivers. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is this guy's a veteran, and there's a reason that the Rams let him go and gave away 2 first-round picks. I mean, that really is desperation. They desperately wanted to get rid of his contract. And, I think I don't necessarily dislike Jared Goff as a person. I think he's trying the best he can, but quarterback is a very hard position to play, and it's clear to me that Jared Goff, as a veteran, if you can't make these reads as a veteran, what makes you think you're going to make these reads for the next 4 or better reads for the next 4 or 5 years? It's going to be a problem. So the Lions need to address that sooner rather than later, and the fact is Malik Willis can open up a whole lot of things for your offense, and I would be thrilled to see us get him. All right, guys, thank you all for watching. We got a big game next week against the Bears. I'll be writing an article about that later this week, doing an opponent preview, and I think this is a game that we have a great chance to win. And, I was actually very pleased with the team on Saturday. Even though they're 0-3, I think we've seen a lot of great things to start this season with a roster that's pretty much beat up with a bunch of young corners that have never played together. They actually put together a pretty good game outside of 2 or 3 plays. So kudos to them, and I just want to see us continue to play good football the rest of this season. And then, that's the way the rebuilds start. You have to change the culture, and I'm convinced the culture has changed because the sloppy mistakes, everything just went away in the second half. We played solid football. All right, guys, thank you all for listening. Y'all have a good night, and go Lions.